Have you ever scrolled YouTube or TikTok and suddenly your feed is full of videos about alpha males, high value men, red pill, and modern women are the problem? At first, it looks like self-help, but behind a lot of this content, there is something bigger and much darker. It's called the Manosphere. And today, we are going to unpack what that actually means, where it came from, why it's growing, and why it matters for all of us. Hi, I'm Anshu, and on this channel, we break down politics, media, and society in a way anyone can understand. In this video, we are talking about the Manosphere, a big online ecosystem of groups and influencers who talk about men, masculinity, dating, and feminism. So some part of it look like normal advice for men, but many parts are openly anti-feminist, hostile to women, and sometimes connected to real world violence. My goal here is not to attack men or say all men are bad. My goal is to explain the phenomena clearly so students, teachers, parents, and honestly anyone can understand what's going on. So what is Manosphere? The Manosphere is a loose network of websites, forums, and influencers who talk about men's issues and masculinity, but from a very specific angle. They usually have three big ideas. And these ideas are: society is biased against man, feminism ruined everything from dating to family to politics, men need to wake up and see how things really are. This is what they call taking the red pill, a reference to the film The Matrix, if you know, guys. And inside this world, you will find different subgroups. For example, men rights activist, pickup artist, men going their own way, and more general red pill or alpha male communities. So the question that comes to the mind, where did it start? Well, the Manosphere didn't just appear one day on TikTok, it has a history. In the 1970s and 80s, in countries like the US and UK, there was something called the Men's Liberation Movement. So men were asking basically, are traditional gender roles hurting men too? Is it healthy that men are told never to cry, never to show weakness? This movement had two directions: a pro-feminist direction, saying patriarchy hurts women and men, let's change gender roles for everyone, and an anti-feminist direction, which became the men's right movement. The men's rights side started to argue that men are actually the ones being oppressed. For example, in divorce courts, child custody, false accusations, and so on. This anti-feminist branch is one of the roots of the Manosphere. Then came the internet. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, men's rights debates moved into online forums and messages boards. At the same time, another world was growing: pickup artists or PUAs. They wrote books, ran workshops, and created forums about how to seduce women, how to manipulate attraction, how to game the system. Many pickup artists talk about women as targets or objects, not as equal partners. These early men's rights forums, pickup artist forums, are basically the proto-Manosphere, the early version of what later becomes much bigger. In the 2010s, social media changed everything. Platforms like Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Discord made it very easy for people with similar ideas to find each other. On Reddit, for example, there were communities like Man's Right, The Red Pill, Incels, and various MGTOW forums. And on YouTube and later TikTok, creators started posting red pill dating advice, high value men content, rants against modern women and feminism. The algorithm of these platforms loves strong emotion, anger, outrage, drama. So videos that are angry at women or blaming feminism often got a lot of reach and engagement. This is how the Manosphere goes from small online forums to a massive global network that teenagers can stumble into just by scrolling. Now let's go inside the Manosphere and understand the main groups in simple language. Men's rights activist, MRAs. MRAs says their goal is to fight for men's rights. Some issues they talk about are real and important. For example, men's mental health, high male suicide rates, workplace death, the fact that many men feel unable to talk about emotions. But many MRA spaces mix these real concerns with strong anti-feminist ideas, claims that women and feminists are the main enemy, narratives that men are the new victims of modern society. So instead of asking how can we improve life for everyone, they often ask how do we fight back against women. Pickup artists focus almost entirely on dating and sex. Their message is women are a game. If you learn the rules, you can always win. They teach techniques like negging, insulting a woman lightly to lower her self-esteem and gain control, using scripts, lines, routines. The problem? It turns human relations into manipulation, and it often encourages seeing women as objects, not as people with their own agency and feelings. Men going their own way. On the surface, it sounds like men focusing on themselves, not on relationships, self-improvement, independence. But in a lot of men going their own way spaces, the message becomes women cannot be trusted, never marry, any relationship with a woman is a trap. So it's less healthy boundaries and more complete withdrawal driven by fear, anger, or resentment. Involuntary, the red pill alpha male content. The final group is more mainstream. the red pill content. How to be an alpha male, how to be a high value man, modern women are delusional. Some of this content is just normal self-help, like for example, go to the gym, be confident, work on your career, but often mixed into that self-help you get constant generalization about women, claims that women are hypergamous, that they only care about money and status, blaming feminism for men's insecurities. So a young boy might click for gym motivation and slowly be pushed towards more extreme videos that are openly hateful. So now the question that comes to the mind is, why do so many people get attracted to the manosphere? Why do so many boys and men click on this stuff? It's too easy to just say they are all bad people. The reality is more complicated. Many young men today feel lonely, unsure about dating and relationships, worried about their future, studies, job, confused about what it even means to be a good man. The manosphere gives them simple answer. It's not you, it's women, feminism, modern society, a community, finally people who understand them. A story, you take the red pill and now you see the truth. On top of that, platform algorithms quietly help this process. If you watch one video on dating, the platform suggests a slightly more extreme one, then another and another. Recent research even shows that incel type accounts on TikTok now use self-improvement languages, talking about looks maxing and subs 5 to avoid bans while still spreading the same basic ideas. So radical ideas can enter the mainstream by looking like just another self-help trend. So now you might ask to yourself, like, why is this manosphere a problem? I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, people are just talking online. So it's not really a problem to me, or it doesn't really harm. But there are several serious problems. First, the manosphere normalizes misogyny, hatred, or contempt for women. In many of these spaces, it becomes normal to call women females or worse, blame women as a group for individual frustration, see women mainly as sexual objects or as the enemy. Over time, that affects how men talk to women, how they behave in relationships, schools, workplaces, and even how young girls see themselves and their worth. Second, parts of the manosphere are linked to the online harassments and sometimes real-world violence. Some of the examples: coordinated attacks on women journalists, politicians, or content creators, doxing threat, rape threats, and as mentioned, a number of incel-inspired attacks, which some courts have even labeled as terrorism. Third, it also harms boys and young men themselves. Why? Because instead of giving them healthy tools for dealing with rejection, failure, loneliness, skills for communication, empathy, emotional regulation, it often teaches blame others, never look at yourself. If you are suffering, it's because of women. Women are evil, or feminism ruined everything. And that doesn't build resilience, that builds bitterness. It's important to say the manosphere is not just a Western or American thing. English language manosphere ideas are translated and copied in Europe, India, Latin America, Africa, and beyond. Influencers in different countries adapt the same formulas. Western women are like this, our women are like that, feminism did this. Local culture changes the detail, but the core messages stay similar. Men are the real victims now, and women, especially feminists, are to blame. The manosphere is not only about dating, it also connects to politics and ideology. Many manosphere spaces overlap with far-right or alt-right politics, conspiracy theories, anti-LGBTQ views. The logic is, feminism destroyed traditional gender roles. Immigration and liberal values destroyed our culture. We need strong, traditional men to take back control. So the manosphere sometimes functions as a gateway. Like a teenager starts watching videos about women's nature, then about feminism destroying the West, then about politics, race, or other topics in a more radical direction. So is everything about men's issues bad? Well, men do have real problems: higher suicidal rate, pressure to be strong and never show emotion, job insecurity and economic stress, lack of spaces to talk about feelings without being judged. These are real issues and they deserve serious discussion. The problem with much of the manosphere is how it responds to those problems. Instead of saying let's change the society so both men and women can live better, it often says blame women and feminism. We can care about boys and men without hating women and without rejecting equality. So what can we actually do with this information? Well, number one, media literacy. We need to teach young people, especially boys, to ask, who is making this video? What do they gain if I believe them? Are they solving my problem or just selling me anger? Number two, talk openly about feelings. Boys and men need spaces to say, I feel lonely, I feel rejected, I'm scared about my future, without being shamed. If they can't talk about these things in healthy spaces, the manosphere offers them an unhealthy family, home instead. Number 3, offer better role models. We need examples of men who are strong but also kind, confident but respectful, successful but not built on hating others. Number 4, don't just cancel but challenge. Of course, we should ban direct hate and threats, but we also need calm, fact-based conversation that show where Manosphere ideas are misleading, how they twist real problems into dangerous narratives. So to sum up, the Manosphere is a network of online communities talking about men and masculinity. It has roots in men's rights movement and pickup artist culture. It spreads globally through social media algorithms, often mixing self-help with misogyny, and it affects not only women but also boys and young men who get pulled into these spaces. The question I want to leave you with is this: how can we build a culture where men can talk about their struggles without blaming women and without falling into hate? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you find this a little helpful, share it with a friend or even with your teacher or professor. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos where we break down politics, media and society in simple language. Thanks for watching. I'm Anshu and I'll see you in the next one.